Okay. Hi guys, it's me Irene with 12 violet scars. I hope you guys are enjoying the video so far. Please remember to share the videos because I would like to be able to spread this awareness as many places as possible and to as many people as possible. I did get a suggestion that maybe I should hold off on my journal readings because since I do start like when I'm already halfway through chemo, I'm going to start, from the beginning and kind of go a little more into it. So, excuse me, I did pull up some folders because I did keep a lot of stuff that they gave me at the doctor's office. I kept it, like anything, like my bracelets, my medical, the receipt they give you, or even just things like this, where it was like welcome papers, side effects, what to expect during chemo, side effects to chemo, the cancer, anything like that. So, because there's a lot of them, and if I go through them all, it'll probably take a while. We're gonna go through them one by one, section by section. So the first one I want to go through is going to be the paper I was given by my oncologist, which was about my specific cancer. So I'll just kind of skim through it because it is a lot of pages as well, just so as we go you guys have more of an idea of what type of cancer I had, what exactly it affected in my body, and all those good things. So um, so just how I said before, it started as in October when I was switched to Kaiser and I got the biopsy on my neck to figure out what the lump was. And I remember my mom, she passed away in October also, and on the 11th, and we do a church every year to remember her anniversary and just remember who she was. And so we were at the church, and I remember I had my surgery. I think like a few days before that, like a week or something, and I don't even remember what we told my family when I had a bandage around here. A lot of them were asking what it was. I don't remember what I said. I don't remember what we told them, but it was because of the biopsy. Because I think at that time we didn't want people to like get too worried or anything. And then, a few days later, I got a call finding out that I did have Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer. And then we had my birthday party on October, I think it was the 25th because it was a Saturday that year. So we had it, and I remember like a lot of my family was just like, we didn't tell them still, so they didn't know that I was going to start chemo soon. And I know some of my family members now have told me that they did notice, that they said it makes sense now. The bandage that you had, the party that I guess I looked a different way. Like I looked like I had a lot on my mind, which I did. And then my sister had a lot on her mind, like they said, especially my dad. Like a few of my aunts were like saying that, they noticed that my dad, every time he looked at me differently. It was a different way he looked at me, like, worried, and they were like, it makes sense now why. I didn't notice that, but I mean, probably because, yeah, I was in my own mind over here trying to make the best out of everything. So that's a little bit how it got started. The day before my birthday, I actually talked to my oncologist, so that's what, she gave me this paper, so I had a little more understanding of the specific cancer I had. Everyone at the hospital felt very bad when I was like, because they have to verify your date of birth, your medical record. So every time I said my date of birth, they were like, oh, okay, October 20. And then they'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, your birthday's tomorrow. And I was like, it's okay, like, I mean, I've got to make the best out of it. And, I mean, I got to do it. If I want to try to save my life, I have to do this, so I can't hold back. It's never going to be a good time anyways, because after my birthday, then there's like my dad's birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, yeah. So I was just like, it's fine. So anyway, let's start going through this list. So what I have is called Hodgkin lymphoma. Is known as Hodgkin's disease. It affects the lymph nodes, which is a white blood cell that helps your immune system. So, which is why my sister was saying that she realized I was getting like sick more often before I found out it was cancer. And now that we read more about my cancer, we understand why, because the cancer was affecting my immune system. Um, and Hodgkin's lymphoma actually is a blood cancer. It's a type of blood cancer, so it's related to myeloma, I think it's called, and leukemia, and as well as non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So there is a difference. There's there's non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and there's Hodgkin's lymphoma. Apparently, the one I got, Hodgkin's lymphoma, is the good cancer. I mean, I don't know why they say that. There is no good cancer. Cancer in general isn't good, but it's good because you have a better survival rate than if you had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Yeah, because even the article says, fortunately, Hodgkin's lymphoma is one of the most treatable cancers. It's like, that's great, but it's still cancer. So, let's see. It affects the lymph nodes, usually in neck or chest, which mine started in my neck. It'll transfer to the spleen, liver, and bone marrow, which mine did go to the spleen, the liver, on my lung also, and was just starting to go in my bone marrow, so it didn't exactly go in yet. It was like right on the spine, so it was starting to make its way, but we caught it before that. Symptoms. Some people with the symptoms find a large lymph node, their neck, their armpit. Since the lympho system goes around, I have a picture in here. I'll show you guys. So that's symptoms. Diagnosis, tissue biopsy, which is what I did, which is when they went in here. You can't really tell, like, it looks like this is a crease, you know, because I'm big and stuff. But actually, that's why he did it, because, you know, my crease is there, but it's actually a scar from when they did the biopsy. It's very, like, he was a really good surgeon, because you can barely see it now, so that's good. So I did that, and I also did the bone marrow biopsy, which is when she went in my back and did the drill through my bone that I had said in a previous video. So she like drilled a hole in my bone on the back, and she like pulled liquid from inside there to test out if the cancer had gone in there. And you know, thank God it hadn't, so that's a good thing. Staging. Oh, I guess for doctors to see what kind of stage Hodgkin's lymphoma you had. Depends on the number of lymph nodes that got involved, so that were affected by the cancer. Depends on the location of the cancer, that determines the stage as well. Depends on whether the cancer is outside the lymphatic system, meaning if it's on the liver or the lung or bone marrow, it's considered outside. So mine's, you know, was a higher cancer. And then whether you have unexplained fever, night sweats, or weight loss, called B symptoms. Sorry. So my cancer actually was determined as stage 4, which is the highest one. It goes from 1 through 4, and they can also do subclass where it's letter A when I have the symptoms of fever, night sweats, which I did. I had night sweats like every day. I had itching all over, which the itching, I actually Googled. Some people have reported that they did have that before they got diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. Some people, you know, didn't get that. So that's kind of like one of those theories that it was related to it. But I mean, I think it is, because I'm not the only one who had it. And also when I drink alcohol, I noticed that like my neck, where that bump was, would start hurting, and then it would like go away. So I stopped drinking alcohol because of that. I like to have fun, but yeah, I couldn't. I didn't drink alcohol for I think like over a year because it would hurt it. And I did read some other people did say that too. And then stage B means that those symptoms were present. Oh, that they're outside, so like the lungs. So it's weird. I guess I had stage A and B. I don't know how that works. But I did have stage 4. night sweats. They were on my lungs. Then, of course, there was number of testing. I did have a CT scan. I had blood test done. I had bone marrow biopsy. I had an X-ray, ultrasound. I had like every single test you can think of. Um, yeah, that to the point where I'm just used to people. I'm used to doctors poking me, needing to check something. It gets to the point where you just go for it. The treatment, chemotherapy, which is what I had. I did not do radiation. I did not have to take pills at home. I know a lot of people think, they ask me when I tell them I'm done with chemo, they'll ask me like, oh, do you still have to take pills? Not every cancer has to take pills when they're getting treated. But some cancers. And depending on the stage also, depending how far you are, depending on the right treatment you and your doctor talked about. So for me, it was just chemo. No radiation, no pills, just chemo. I did chemo once every 2 weeks for 6 months. So I did a total of 12 rounds, and chemo's to help, to get rid of it. And then it tells me side effects of chemo. Long-term side effects include infertility, meaning later on it could become hard to get pregnant. It could damage my menstrual cycle, I'll say. It can cause early menopause. So that scared me a lot because I don't have kids right now. I do want to have kids in the future. Um, that really terrified me. That was one question I think I kept going over and over with my doctor. I was like, am I going to be able to have kids? And she was like, honestly, I think it might just be really hard. She's like, the good thing is that you're young. Again, I mean, not good that I had cancer when I'm young, but the youth part helped a little. I didn't have any other health issues, so that was also good. But she was like, I don't know. But luckily, I actually kept having my, I call him Tom for abbreviation, time of the month. So I actually got that from my cousins. That's what they call him. So it just stuck. So Tom, I still got him. He still came to visit me every month. And she said that some people do get their periods when they're going through chemo, but it might be like less. It might just be spotting, because the chemo does affect your hormones and all that. And actually, for me, it was like normal. Like I didn't get any break. So she said because of that, that was good. That's actually a really good sign because that usually doesn't happen. Usually, women just don't get it at all. And she said, me still having my menstrual cycle like normal was actually really good. So she doesn't see any problem at all for me later to be able to conceive. So I am praying that that's right, and I do pray that later on I will be able to. So let's just keep praying. Let's get that wrong one. And then let me see, lung damage. So this is weird because I have been having trouble with breathing, so I did have to go get like a lung test, I don't know what it's called, a breathing test done. And he said what's weird is that, usually people who are diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I think non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, but usually they get a breathing test done before chemotherapy because of the fact that chemotherapy um, can damage the lungs and can damage your breathing. And I never had that done. So I thought that was shocking and weird that I didn't have it done because, there's nothing to compare if my lungs were better back then, if they were worse, or if they're the same. So it just sucks because he's kind of going in a blind eye. I mean, so far I'm okay. So we got that. So far I'm okay, but I mean, I do still have like little breathings here and there. So, I mean, but he said other than that, I have good lungs. So that's good. The scary one, another symptom or side effect, I'm sorry, is that secondary cancer. There is a chance of developing a second cancer years after the first treatment. The second cancers can include breast cancer, lung cancer, or gastrointestinal cancer. I don't know what that word is. But that's the scary part too, is that chemotherapy helps you in a way to get rid of cancer. But because of everything you have to go through, I mean, it's so much medicine and drugs, it can cause other stuff, and that's scary to think of. The good thing that I'm happy about is that I usually Hodgkin's lymphoma patients develop Hodgkin's lymphoma again within the first 2 years after chemo. Thank God I beat that statistic because here I am. I'm a little over 2 years, and thank God, I don't have any type of sign that I have cancer. I did just recently have PET scans, so I'm still good. And that's the scary thing is PET scans, they inject you with radiation, which can cause cancer. So that's why that's the risk of getting it again. I didn't do radiation, so we can just skip that unless I see a comment that tells me, can you please go back and just read through what it says, and I will. But since I didn't do it, I didn't do any of these. Just tells me where to get more information from. Okay, so here is, let's see if you can, it looks a little blurry, but here's the lymphatic system. So you see how there's some in the neck, which was where mine was, and it goes all through the legs, which is why my legs were itchy, and it goes all through here. So it's like a tree, like I had said. So that's what it looks like. So my cancer was not just in those little bean-sized things; it was also outside of those, which is what made me stage 4. Here are the different types of stages. This is the last page I'll go through. There's a lot of pages, a lot of words, so I tried to get it together. Let's see. So stage 1 was if it was in the spleen. Stage 2 is if it involves 2 or more lymph nodes. So stage 1 means it only affected one lymph node. So like one part of the body and that's it. Stage 2 means that there's 2 or more parts involved. Stage 3 is when both sides of the diagram on paper. Both sides of the diagram are infected. And stage 4, because there's different ways, there's like different little sub things of what stage 4 could be. But pretty much if the whole darn body got affected by it, it would be stage 4. Including symptoms. So especially if you have night sweats like I did, then you would definitely be considered stage 4. So I'm guessing the ones 1 through 3, people who had those didn't get the side effects, but I did. And and also my lower back was hurting. Those are the only symptoms I actually remember having was night sweats, itching like crazy. The alcohol, drinking the alcohol, and then my back. Those are the only ones that I've ever had. So that was a little bit about my cancer. So it affects the white blood cell. Just to summarize, affected the white blood cell. That's important to my immune system. So, which is why before chemo, my immune system was already getting lower because of this cancer. And then during chemo, of course, with any cancer, makes your immune system go really low. So putting those two together just made me really vulnerable to getting sick, which is why I barely left the house for 8 months. Which is why I didn't see my family except my brothers who I invited for holidays, and that was it. If they were sick though, even a hint of being sick, they would let me know and they wouldn't come, like to protect me. I couldn't be around anyone just for the fact that we didn't want to risk that. And from what I understood from my own personal research, it's also the better cancer because they know what cells are being affected, from what I understood. And the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is like, it's like where they don't have it pinpointed on which ones are being affected. So that's why mine is the good cancer. But again, there is no good cancer. We all have, every cancer is not a good cancer. We all have to go through this fight that isn't easy. So I don't see why it was good. I mean, I went through chemo, and chemo was not like a walk in the park. It was not fun or anything. Of course, I made the best out of it. Of course, I did. But there's no reason to say that my cancer is a good cancer. I mean, I don't know how else they can word it, but I don't see why they say that. Um, yeah, so that's the reading on my cancer. So we have a little bit more of an understanding of what it specifically is, my symptoms pertaining to my cancer. So remember, what I said doesn't apply to all cancers. And then next week I'll go over, I'll start, now that we have an idea of my cancer, next week I'll start going into now where I went into prepare for chemo. They had us do a chemo class. My sister went with me. So I'll start going through more of these, and then start going through, like, what I experienced, what we did to get ready for chemo, what I wasn't able to eat, things I couldn't do. I'll start getting into more of that little by little. And as we get around the date when I did my first reading, when we found out I no longer had cancer, then I will go ahead and continue reading from my journal. So until then, I'll just start doing these and take you through like the timeline. And again, if you know someone who's been through cancer or is currently going through chemo, been through cancer, had cancer, is currently going through chemo, and you want to share your experience of how you felt about it, or even just little comments or anything like that, please let me know. I am going to attach I made a personal email, so I am going to attach that at the bottom of this video in the description. Please feel free to just send me anything, pictures, stories. If you know someone who they personally want to tell me their story so I can share it on here, please have them go ahead and write me on that email. I also attached, I made an Instagram account, which I'm going to be posting, like, chemo quotes and things like that I use during my time as well. So if you guys can please follow, and please let me know any stories. I would love to be able to share stories. And of course, eventually, as we get farther on, like I said, I would like to eventually interview my family members, and that will be coming soon. So for now, please share with me your stories, share with me your comments, like, share, and comment this video. Please share. Thank you so much. I did get permission. Thank you so much to Katrina for sharing my story with her family members. I truly appreciate that. That's what I want, is to share the story, to be able to spread joy, and just to inspire people to keep their faith, even if you're not religious, to keep your attitude about it. It's about your attitude. I have another coworker who told her daughter, so I have, the word's getting spread, and I truly appreciate that. You guys are so great for doing that. I really appreciate it. I hear from a lot of people, like Katrina was telling me, that I'm so dang amazing, and just hearing those things like make me feel good, because for me, I'm just sharing a simple story. So for people to hear it and really be inspired by it, it makes me feel really good. It makes me want to continue these videos, and I do. I want people to hear. And if you have any suggestions, please let me know. I'm not, I how do I say it? I'm very open-minded to new ideas, new suggestions. Like I said, anything you want me to go back and read, anything you want me to go further into detail on, let me know and I'll do it. So thank you guys so much. Please like, comment, and share. And remember, when God gives you a battle, why give him anything less than a fight? Bye.